tell a story in here about Jeff Goldblum. Could you recap that real quick?
Oh my gosh. So June 25th, 2009, a day that will live in infamy. It was the day that Michael Jackson died and the day that Farrah Fawcett died. And later in the day, I saw someone tweet that Jeff Goldblum had died, and it had a link, and it linked to this article. And I was so caught, I was like, oh, you know, everything happens in threes, and this is so freaky, oh my God, it's the freakiest day ever. And so, of course, I retweeted, a bunch of people retweeted, and it turns out he didn't die at all, you know, and he even, I don't know if people have seen this, but he went on the Colbert Show to like tell people, and Colbert was sitting there tweeting, the ghost of Jeff Goldblum is on my show, you know, so it was very funny. And so I thought that was really interesting because we don't quite have the mechanisms in our brain to deal with instant, you know, very salacious and or surprising information, and we really need to train ourselves to, I call it stop, drop, and think, you know, and think about the information that we're passing along before we pass it along. And people are already, just in the last year, have gotten a lot better about that kind of thing, kind of verifying information before we pass it along, but it's so hard when you have, you know, our culture of urban legends and stuff is already so strong, and you know, suspicion and all those, and superstition, and play such a big part in our culture that it's kind of hard to resist those moments.
Yeah, and as funny as that story was, it did sort of highlight an aspect of the online world, especially this transitional moment.
Mm-hmm.
And specifically, that was something that was very easy to, you know, kind of to disprove within 24 hours.
Yeah.
For 24 hours, I'm sure, you know, it was
oh my God, he's dead.
Yeah. And then it was done. But
yeah.
we look back to things like during the Obama campaign, the emails that went around.
Yeah.
And online, it has become very easy to share misinformation just as easily as sharing information.
Absolutely. You know, that's a really tough one. I think that we do, I think it actually starts when we're younger, when we have children in school. I think they should be offered both media literacy and kind of critical thinking classes, which we don't get a lot of in the type of schooling that we do in America. We're not necessarily taught to critically think about what the information that's been put in front of us. And I think we need a new kind of digital literacy program to go along with that, and to really teach the fundamentals of verifying information. Don't just believe what's put in front of you. And you know, we have the ability now to, when you get one of those crazy hoax emails, you can go to, you know, Snopes.com and look it up and make sure that it's not true. And we kind of have little tiny mechanisms, but I really do think it needs to be more of a fundamental part of our educational system.
Yeah, and I was going to say, to some extent, you know, we have these tools to help get the right information out to people, but really they have to look for it a little.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people that heard Obama was a Muslim didn't want to go look. I mean, they could have easily Googled and found out otherwise.
Right, and well, I think that that's something interesting too. And people do worry a lot about the kind of echo chamber effect, that, you know, we're just going to keep hearing the information that we want to hear. But the interesting thing that research shows is that people who participate in social networks are likely to have discussion networks that are 20% more diverse than people who don't participate. Which you would think is like, what? But we just find so many different types of people, because if you look at how our society is structured and how we self-segregate ourselves anyway, across racial, class, you know, and other boundaries, that there's a lot of sameness in our offline lives that is now starting to get a little bit better through the different types of people that we encounter in our daily travels online. And I think that's, you know, that's really, really good.